Flo and I went to Pasadena a couple of days ahead of time because we wanted to go into the barns to see how the floats were decorated. The first float that we came across is this one here that you see here, which is the one entered by Cal Poly University. They enter a float every single year, and being that they're engineers, they come up with some of the most creative animated floats that you ever wanted to see. They had this board set up to show you what some of the other ingredients are that they use to decorate a float besides flowers. They use all kinds of seeds, as you can see here. What they do is grind them up in blenders, and then they put down glue on the float and spread the seeds out the way they want. Whatever you can imagine is what they use. This lady here is making some flower arrangements, which are going to be used on a Cal Poly float. It's really very interesting to see how they set up all kinds of scaffolding all over these floats so they can get up there and do what they have to do. This person is spreading glue, and then he's going to cover it with some kind of seeds so it'll blend in with the rest of the surroundings up to what he has already done. These are the two carts which are already finished that's going to be running around the float as it goes down the parade route. This is the Wells Fargo entry. These two carriages will be drawn by horses. The Sesame Street sign is laying down here. That's because it has to lay down to go underneath the freeway, which is only 17 feet high. But when you're going to see it in the parade, everything will be upright. This is just one of the many, many rooms with all kinds of flowers all over them. As you can see, there's everything you can imagine. These people that work on these floats are all volunteers, and you can see some of these scaffoldings are pretty high and kind of treacherous working up there. Then we're now in a different barn, and you can see everybody's really working pretty hard over here. For the simple reason, these floats have to be finished by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon so that they can be judged. They have all kinds of people sitting at tables here, taking the flowers and cutting them up, just taking the portion of the flower they want to be, which is going to be used on the float. When you watch these people work, you start to realize that this is really quite an operation. This is what you call well-controlled mass confusion. This thing they're working on is a wing to a big, huge eagle. Flo and I couldn't believe as to how real these things look. This float is almost complete, and just a few finishing touches. We're now in a different barn. It is about 11:30 a.m. on New Year's Eve, and all these floats in this particular barn are all finished, and they're all getting ready to be judged. Flo and I are viewing these floats from a balcony in this particular warehouse, which is up high. And we saw that these people walking around on the floor, taking pictures and what have you. So we asked, are we allowed down there? And he said, oh no, that's only for the people who worked on the floats and for people who are connected with the companies that are sponsoring the floats. So when we got down off the balcony, and I said to Flo, can you act stupid? Just don't say anything and come with me. There was an open door there. So I just took Flo by the arm and we walked in, and nobody stopped us, and before you knew it, here we are on the floor, up close and personal with these floats. This is the Camelot float. It is really quite distinctive and looks very, very beautiful. Those costumes on these people are all flowers, seeds, and whatever else they come up, and you could swear they're real. This float here is entered by Alaska, and it's got all Alaskan theme all over it. Hey Flo, don't get too close to this guy. You know, those things look awfully real. He might get to you.
Huh, maybe he's got to me already. I think I'm going to go hang out somewhere else.
All these designs on this float here are all flowers, and they're really very, very complex.
You just can't imagine how extensively beautiful this float is. You don't even know where to focus out on your eyes because of the beauty of everywhere. Here's one of the roadrunners out of Palm Springs. Oh my God, he looks really real. And I don't know where he's running to, but he's going after something.
That's where he's running, Flo. He's running away from Wile E. Coyote here, who is after him. He's been after him forever, and he's never caught him yet. We're now outside where there's a lot of judging going on, and you'll see some of it.
Here's Bambi. He sure looks real. Looks like he's ready to jump off the float.
This float had music playing and everything else going on, and these two guys, which are going to be on the float going down the parade route, were all decked out in their finest clothes.
Can you imagine putting all these flowers together? My goodness, all the float is just loaded with flowers. And the fragrance in here is just unbelievable. We were standing with the camera in our hands, and so someone came along and said, would you like a picture with that float on the background? And we said, certainly, that'd be nice of you, thank you.
Hey Flo, you can get close, but don't touch. You know that's a no-no.
Yes, indeed, I know that, but notice my hand is not touching a thing.
Hey Flo, which one of you is real? You or that cat?
I know, but there's two of these little guys on this float, but this one was so cute, and guess what? He meowed at me. Hey, it looks like he's looking for something. Maybe he expects a butterfly to come in and play with him for a little bit. I think this guy has his eye on a bird up there in the tree. It certainly looks like that to me. These flowers in this heart were all big, beautiful red roses with the white trimming. And guess what? Around this float, there were like 20 of them.
And as you can see, not only the hearts were with roses, the rest of the float was all roses. Now we're in the last barn. These floats are all sitting there waiting to be judged. This is the Lutheran Hour float, and it is going to be judged in a few minutes, which you're going to hear in the next picture. This is the Alice in Wonderland float. Very, very pretty. Doesn't that American flag really look real? The people in this car are real, but the car is not.
But maybe they think they're going to Hollywood. It looks like it. We had a group of airplanes up above us that were writing Happy 2009 in the sky. That was unusual.
Then they proceeded to another area and wrote Gossip. Except that it was Gossip Girl. And there was a commercial. And it kept on going more and more and more, which I did not photograph. The stealth bomber came flying by to open the parade. And he flies right down Colorado Boulevard. Now, you cannot believe how slow this guy really flies.
Man, it doesn't look like a plane or a bomber. It looks like a big old black bat.
The first float that led off the parade was the Honda float. They had this big, huge robot that did all kinds of things. And this guy stands 35 feet tall. And he's got to go under a 17-foot overpass. So he lays down on his back so he can get underneath it. This float was very animated. Everything moved here, and especially that big green guy there, who is that steam coming out of his mouth. Well, you can't see it, but he's blowing into a bucket of popcorn, and he's popping his popcorn. You'll get to see more of this tomorrow, because in the morning we went to see it at the park, and now you'll see what he does.
It was so entertaining, you can't believe it. This guy, he blows his steam out, and he's got these great big white teeth to chew up his popcorn. It was funny.
This is the float that we filmed in the barn in 2 sections because it was too big to fit in one slide. It is really very, very big.
To think of all those flowers they had to cut up and cut into little pieces and get them glued in just so properly. It's unbelievable.
This is the Camelot float that we saw also in the barn. It looks so much better out here in the parade route. This is the president. He's riding in a beautiful old car.
Well, he's not the president of the United States, but he's the president of the Rose Parade, and believe me, he's got a big job on his hands.
Well, this is the Roadrunner float. Now we can really see what Wile E. Coyote is doing. That rocket that he's on goes up and down and turns from side to side. And you know what? He never caught that Roadrunner yet, and I don't think he's going to catch him here. This is the Grand Marshal, Cloris Leachman. Unfortunately, when I snapped this picture, she was looking at the people on the other side of the street instead of looking at us. This is a beautiful floral setting all over.
Wow, look at that lady. She's way up on the top there, if you can see her.
You can't see it, but this lady is strapped in. She's not that brave to be up there without some kind of restraint. This is just one of the very many bands that were in this parade, and you can't believe the size of these bands.
I can't.
This is the band that was behind Sesame Street. You can't believe how big it is and what you're going to see as it goes along.
What they did was they took segments of the Sesame float and put between the band to break it up a little so it wouldn't be such a long, monotonous half mile of band only. This one was the end of the band. This is a couple of the horses. I tell you, the horses were so adorable because they pranced. They really danced for us. Some of them were really extravagant dancers too.
Oh, that's the tree.
This float is entered by Huntington Beach, and surfing is one of the big things at Huntington.
Have you ever seen a peacock that looks like this? I'll tell you how they could get those flowers to make that beautiful tail and that beautiful bird. He was absolutely outstanding.
This is the opposite side of the Alaskan float that you saw yesterday. Unfortunately, the walrus that Flo was standing next to is on the other side, not on this side. The parade is over and we're starting to exit and go back to our car.
It made me feel like I was back in China. There were so many people pushing against you.
This is the next morning. Senior citizens and handicapped people are allowed to go to the park at 7 a.m. before it opens to the general public so that we don't have to put up with all the crowds and stuff. Unfortunately, it was quite foggy and cold this morning.
These flowers are imported from all over the world, and it's amazing that they can come so far and yet still remain so beautiful.
This is not a real orchid. This is made to look like an orchid. But you know what? It looks like it's ready to eat me.
We saw these purple flowers being made downstairs, and I'm telling you, we didn't know exactly where they were going to put them. But when we saw them on board the floats, they just really showed up beautiful. These orchids are real, and you can go down to your nursery and buy them locally.
It's really amazing how they make these animals and make them look so real.
Looks like this eagle is ready to take off and fly. A Christmas tree made out of roses. What a way to end the season.
Look at this beautiful guy. Doesn't he look real?
I think this looks like Mama Bear, and she's turning gray. Maybe she had too many little baby bears.
Well, this is the end of our presentation, and I thought it would be fitting to end it with this little jazz band.
And tomorrow we're going up to Burbank to the Holiday Inn Hotel and dance and listen to jazz band that my son Brian is in. More fun. Hey, Happy New Year's 2009.